Hello, Klaus. Open stage. Where's Hello, people. Okay, good evening. It's evening here in Dallas, Texas. How are you doing? Okay, my people are here. Okay, can you invite your friends and family? We're back again today. Okay, how are we doing? It's been a very, very busy day. I mean, surprisingly, my schedule was a bit light from a counseling point of view, but it wasn't light from work point of view because I mean working on an app, a particular app that will reduce the counseling case diagnostics period for family life professionals. It will reduce it from maybe like 2 hours to about 1 minute. All right, and so I had to develop a 113-page document for the algorithm of the tech team working on it. So maybe tired, but grateful. How are you, Tony? Angel, let me not smother your names. Okay, so good to have you guys here. So how's it been? So who wants to join me on the call today? So just send me a request if you have a question. I gave you guys a task yesterday. How many of you did it? I mean, you've gone back to figure out your history. Anybody? If you did it, can you say I? Or if you have started the process at least. So if you have any question for me, you can just make a request. I'm going to bring you up on the call today, but there is something on my mind. All right. There's always something to share. All right. So a lot of us, if you're ready to join me on the call, just request. I will bring you up. If you have any question you want to ask, or you want to tell me about the experience about going back to figure out where you came from and the power that exists in your lineage, or there's something you're not generally clear about based on everything I've been sharing and you want to clarify, you can make a request or you can put your question on the comment side of things and I'll look at it and I'll respond. Okay, so there is a word that we use regularly in the African community. Not just African community, I think across board is now used, and is the word a narcissist. Someone with a narcissistic tendency. I'm sure you've used that word. You know about it. Almost every broken down relationships right now, that's the new culprit that everybody blames, right? And I know that we have read all kinds of descriptive tendencies that aligns with that worldview. If you know me very well, I don't follow the multitude, and I do not deny that they exist. As a matter of fact, research has shown that Nika, good to see you. Research has shown that all of us have got a bit of a spectrum of narcissistic tendency. Now, it now depends on how you use it, how you water it, and how you develop it or how you destroy it. So, for people who have stretched their controlling tendency to an extreme, they are the ones you say are narcissistic in nature. Meanwhile, all of us actually have it. Now, my theory is slightly different because it would appear as if those guys are write-off, nobody wants them. But if you check critically, you realize that maybe they're getting married to the wrong people. Maybe they should not marry power women or powerful men because usually they don't know how to handle objections or how to share their spaces with people. Now, in my research, I discovered that we live in a multicultural cultural world with multi-dispensational descendants whose beliefs must align for you to build a system. So, yeah, even though all of you are listening to me right now, and it would look like we're in the same generation, I'm 46, right? If you look at me and you're in your 40s, it would look like you and I are in the same generation. We may be the same age, but we may not be in the same generation. Or we may be similar in age, but from different roots or different dispensation, or we are running a different dispensational software. And so I'm going to share a few things with you that I think will blow your mind. I'm not going to complete it today, but I will start the process. So if you want to join me on the call, just send me a request and I'll bring you up on the call. Maybe you have a question, because I did promise yesterday that I'll get people on the call today who want to join and maybe ask a question live. So if you want to do that, you can send me a request and I'll bring you up. But the history of love across various stratas, across various dispensation, has proven to me, and this is my theory now. Yeah, everybody, you're welcome. Has proven to me that everything we're trying to label could be something totally different. And so, if you're familiar with history, love as we have it now, where a man and a woman in marriage, and you expect the man to love you, respect you, and you also, the man expects you to love and respect him, and you want to do lovey-dovey, has not always been this way. However, hey, good to see you, baby. A lot of people do not know that it's not always been this way. And then the descendants of the people who lived in the dispensation where women were subjugated are still on this planet, that they can drive big cars, that they can, do many things, go to school, have a PhD, does not remove them from the operating system that was installed in them, which helps them, makes them behave in a particular way. Follow me carefully. So let me give you, and I'm going to ask you this question. Now, how many of you in your lifetime on this planet, you have met a guy or a babe, or you have related with someone, right, who looks at you, and what you feel is that all this guy cares about is for you to just be a cook, right? Has no regard for what you say, does not see you at all. You have a feeling in relating with this person that the person sees you as someone like a slave that I've acquired, and then you have no say, right? And this person can just travel and brings money and just believes that, see, I'm going to take care of you. You have to do nothing. If you've ever met those kind of people on this planet, can you type I? I'll tell you what is happening. Now, our story started from the Stone Age. In Stone Age marriages, the most important thing was, why people came together, was alliance for survival. Hey, Toye, good to have you. Now, alliance for survival was about mutual support in gathering food and protection. So, if you are dealing with someone who is saying to you, you know what, we're going to have 7 children, we're going to have 10 children, and you're asking the person, what do we need 7 children for? And the person is telling you, because I'm going to start a chain of companies, and those children must own them, and blah, 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 blah. You would assume, because the person has a PhD, or because he has a master's degree, that you are talking to a modern person. You are talking to a modern skin with the operating system of a Stone Age person. Because in Stone Age, people came together because they needed women to procreate and produce workforce for the family. So love for the woman is not, I'm in love with you, I'm kneeling down to propose to you, I want to date you, I want us to do lovey-dovey. No, you are a baby production factory. And choices are made based on kinship, clan, connection. So literally, in the Stone Age, right? It's not about I love you. It's not about respect for you. That doesn't come up at all. We don't care what you call yourself. I mean, someone is going to bundle you to say, this is the person you must marry. You even have no say. So all this courtship thing was not in place, right? And so the women had no voice. And so literally, they were meant to produce babies, and the babies were meant to be workforce. So when you're dealing with a lover who looks like all he wants from you are babies, production factory. So I need you to give birth to 7 children. You don't even have to work, right? You don't have to do anything. I'm going to take care of you. Just be my wife. You would think that that's love. Let me tell you, you are dealing with someone with a Stone Age operating system. He's not a bad person. It just means that if you are not a Stone Age woman, you should not say yes to him. If you are a Gen Z or you are a millennial, and you say, millennials have seen Mexican soaps. You've seen Second Chance, When You Are Mine, all kinds of things. You've seen all sorts of things, right? If you say yes to that kind of guy, right, they are going to make your life miserable, not because they are bad, but because the Stone Age behavior is still that behavior. And as we have the descendants of Stone Age people in our modern day, we also have them male and female. So they should find themselves and marry themselves. Because you're going to be operating, so it's like you are, you are bringing Pentium 1 to work. You know what will take you to boot the Pentium 1, right? Every other person have closed. Because Pentium 1, when you boot, you have to go and sleep. Are you with me? Now, the second we move from, so whilst, this is very deep, right? Whilst Stone Age people get married simply because they want babies. Not just they want babies, they want the workforce. Because wanting babies and wanting the workforce are two different things. They want a workforce. As a wife, you have no say, right? You have no say. Now, we move from Stone Age. The next civilization was ancient civilization. Now, I don't want to get into the Persian civilization because that will throw up Point Esther, and I don't want to get into that story today. Ancient civilization, there were 3 major ones. Egypt, Greek, and the Roman Empire. Now, in Egypt, marriage was a social arrangement to ensure property and lineage. So imagine someone coming to propose marriage to you to say, sweetheart, and kneel down and they say, you know what, I just want to get married to you because I want to guarantee my property and I want a child that will carry my name when I'm dead. It's not about you. And I'm sure you have met, call it cultural. It's our culture. Our culture is, if you can't produce a baby that will carry my name, then you are not. Call it culture. Those are descendants of ancient Egyptian civilization. Right? Oh, marry me, because, my mother says I must marry you because they will not give me the property I deserve. That person is never going to see you. He can speak in tongues. He can preach on the pulpit. He can, mention it. He can be a charismatic person. He can live in America. He can live in Japan. He can live anywhere. But once the operating system is that operating system that says, you know what, I have married you because I want something, not because I really care about you to grow or something, right? Your beauty, your entire packaging, it's about a social arrangement to get my property or, for you to produce baby. And that's why if you can't produce a male child, it becomes problematic because they begin to threaten you. Now, when you are having that conversation with that person, you will think they are wicked. You will say he's a narcissist. No, he's not. He is a descendant of Egyptian ancient civilization with their operating system. He's representing his civilization. If you are not a girl from that civilization, forward march, wear your spike shoe. Now, in ancient civilization, the next is a Greek civilization, and Greeks is a very interesting civilization because in the Greek civilization, people marry their sisters, people marry their cousin. Now, Marriage was consummated it was arranged for economic reasons and to produce legitimate heirs. So love outside of marriage was common. In the Greek Empire, if you couldn't produce a male here, especially among the aristocrats and among, the royals, right, you are done. Now, you see, the common people in the Greek Empire, right, had no voice. So, as a matter of fact, in the Greek Empire, the concept of monogamy is only found among the poor. Follow me, know your history. The concept of monogamy is found among the poor. In the palace, in the high places, right, there were courtiers, there were slaves. In fact, in the Greek Empire, you slept with a slave, not on a bed. You slept with a slave on a stone. Because they do not believe that a slave deserves to lie on the bed. So it was what you could call rape or abuse in our age and time. Because women, or the concept of love, was not something that was really, really pronounced like that. Maybe later among the royalties. But basically, love and marriage was arranged for economic reasons and to produce legitimate heir. Love outside of marriage was common. So, hey, my husband is cheating on me. You had no voice. You had no capacity to mention that. Why would you would tell Alexander the Great is cheating on you? Or you're going to tell Pythagoras or all those guys that they're cheating on you? You had no voice. So when you are dating someone who is cheating on you, or you are the one cheating on them, and they are catching you, or you are catching them, and they are upset, and they gaslight you, and they say, and so what? Do you want to stay or you don't want to stay? Who are you seeing? A descendant of the Greek ancient civilization, a Greek empire person living in this age and time. Breaking news, they are not bad people. They should just find their type because their female counterparts exist on this planet. Who don't see anything wrong in what they're doing, they exist. So you are the one that is looking for a name to say he's an adulterer, he's a cheat, he is that. He has no human feeling, he cannot change, he's a nutty, he's incorrigible. The guy is from the stock, he has the Greek DNA inside of him. As far as it's concerned, he's a king, and nobody should question him, right? And so the capacity to spot the operating systems of, I'm glad my brother is here. I see a lot of things on social media. Call the person, he's a leader, he's a pastor, he's this, is that. From the way he's speaking, you can tell the operating system that drives and runs these people. They can have money. They can have big cars. He can even have a private jet. But the operating system when it comes to marriage is of Egyptian civilization or Greek empire. So love outside of marriage was a thing in the Greek Empire. Now, if you go to the Roman Empire, marriage is to produce legitimate children and for inheritance and citizenship right. So when you are dating someone who is seeing you because they are using you to get a stay in the UK or in America, or they need you for passport, right? And their love is based on passport. They want to be citizen because you are a citizen. Hey, greetings from Ireland. Thank you, Linda. Good to see you. Marina, good to see you. They are from Roman Empire. They can wear a tie. They can even live in Canada. They can look like it. They can speak Queen's English. But as long as your conversation is about citizenship or children. So let's say you had a delay and then they began to hound you. It's you. You have to do IVF. And that process is not pleasant. You have to take 1, do 2, do 3, do 4, and then they begin to threaten you. You know where you belong. The person you are seeing is of the Roman Empire stock. You can find a name for them. Is on spiritual, is carnal, is this, is that. You are not addressing the root. The root is the operating system that governs and drives this person is a Roman Empire OS. And until you uninstall the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire operating system, because in this age and time, there was nothing like kneeling down to propose marriage to a girl. No. You picked anybody you like. Two families came together and they say, you know what, I'm a king here, you're a king here, to seal our economic whatever, to seal the deal, let our daughters get married. That's it. You had no say. So to be expecting, faithfulness, to be expecting loyalty, to be expecting respect, to be expecting, I am sorry. Greek men or Roman emperors never said they were sorry. You are the ones that's why in the Persian Empire, when Queen Vashti was asked to come and parade herself naked, and she refused to do it, what was the implication? They fired her. And that's what you guys excitedly preach about and say, every Vashti that is sitting on your throne, God should remove them so that Esther can take over. She was removed as a prince, as a queen, because she would not parade herself before the king, because the king was drunk. Who fires his wife because the wife refused to parade herself naked before nobles? That's why Queen Vashti is regarded as the first feminist, because Queen Vashti, if you trace her history, she was from a royal heritage. And so the king was drunk and she was not a slave. Right? And that's why I believe that when they wanted to pick a new wife for the king, they had to look for the people that can do all those things, that will not say no to the king. Right? And that was where Queen Esther showed up. We can't get into that story today. Are you guys with me? So, you will meet many people who are from different civilizations. And because they are sitting beside you in church, or because they are coming to work, because they own a big company, you assume that in love, they belong to your generation. No. Their conversation, their demands, their preference and choices, Lottie, good to see you, will reveal the civilization they belong to. So, Egyptian operating system, marriage for them is social arrangement to ensure property and lineage. So they look for you and look at how you can fit into their business. They don't think about your preference, your choice, what you desire, how you can fit into their business. That's what they're thinking about. That is a man or a woman from Egyptian operating system. Ancient Egypt, not the modern day Egypt. But when you meet someone, who is thinking of economic reason to produce legitimate heir, right? Who all he thinks about is, I must have a male child, I must have a male child. That's a Greek operating system. Or you have someone, who is looking at you because of what they stand to get, especially if you have an extra passport, UK, British, whatever. That's a Roman Empire operating system. Now, if you move from, so far we've talked about Stone Age, and they all exist. Wherever you are, you see them. You see them, right? They look like modern people, but then the operating system is what? And if you mistakenly marry them, fall in love with them, they will show up who they are, and you begin to blame them or try to convert them. You go from is a nature thing, is an operating system, unless they become aware and decide to get help, which means they will need to break their belief system. They will need to literally have what we call mental transplant or transformation, where they now accept that we no longer live in Stone Age, because they are not even aware of what they're doing. Now, we move from Stone Age to Asian civilization to Middle Ages. Now, in Middle Ages, marriage was arranged. So when you hear arrange, those are Middle Age people. That's the Middle Age operating system. Marriage is for strategic alliance to consolidate wealth, power, and land. So arrange that senator for me. Those are Middle Age operating system. Arrange Dangote for me. Arrange. So when you see girls who want to be arranged for a senator, wants to be arranged for a political leader, wants to be arranged for the MD of a company, wants to be arranged. All those arrangee. In fact, what you call pimping and all the rest of them, you package small girls for religion. That is a Middle Age. That's 5th to 15th century is arrangee. Right? And so oftentimes, marriage, even at this level, is not about I love you. Love has not shown up here. Romance has not shown up. So the concept of sending you flowers does not exist within this arrangement at all. So when you're dating someone who doesn't send flower, who doesn't, you're looking at the guy, you're wondering what's wrong with you. You know, you are not romantic. It might be a middle-aged person. It belongs to the Middle Ages, right? But you see, towards the end of the Middle Age is when Christianity began to gain ground, and then Christians started. Uncle Praise, is that operating system similar to the story Charles, Camilla, and Hannah? Absolutely. You know that Charles and the rest of them, they belong to Asian civilization. British was the last of those empires. After the Roman Empire, it was British that began to colonize the entire world. And, you know, wherever the word of the king is, there's power, you know. So but then, let's not talk about, we'll talk about him someday there. I don't want to get into royal, but it's something I love to talk about. Because when you want to marry royalty, you need to know what you're getting into. It's like when some lady who says she was born again wanted to get married to the Orisha of the Yoruba land. And people say, oh, she will bring God to the palace. I said, what are you talking about? You want to marry Orisha? You have no say. The Orisha is second in command to God. Right? So to marry the head of the Yoruba kingdom and think that you are going to be doing praise and worship in the palace, and then you will influence him and turn him to Jesus Christ. No, because the guy by tradition does not even know Jesus. If he knows Jesus, he is supposed to be side by side, maybe at the same level with, maybe higher than Jesus self, because he's the next in command to God. Some people don't know what they are getting into, and I'm like, are you naive? And then people will say, oh, you know, how can the king be cheating? The king never cheats. If you understand the Obagbesele concept, the king is not cheating. King is king over all. Things are even better. In the ancient times, you can be going with your wife to church, and the king will look at your wife, he likes your wife, and they will say, bring the wife, and the king takes her to the bedroom and sleeps with her. That's what you call rape right now. It's called Obagbesele. Now, that's an operating system. And people will accept it like that. So you need to know where we're coming from. Anyways. Now, should I stop now or should... There's a lot to teach, right? There's a lot to teach. Now, so I'm saying all of these things because if you are a Generation Z or millennial, don't be falling in love with middle-aged people or people in the Asian civilization, because they are going to treat you like Greek Empire women. And you will say, this guy has no respect and regard for me. You are the one to figure them out before you say yes to them. So in Middle Ages, strategic alliance to consolidate wealth and power. So when it's, in fact, in family system engineering, we call that Tantis Romeo. The goal is, you know, I'm marrying you for something I want to get. Not because you are very important. Once I get that thing, I can chase you up. But you see, towards the end of that age was when, you know, Christianity came, and Christianity began to call marriage a holy union, right? And it must interest you to know that in that era, if you divorced your husband, which is very rare, he can divorce you, you may not be able to divorce, but when you divorce, he has full custody of the children. You have nothing. You can't take anything away. Now, we move to the Renaissance or Enlightenment, which is 14th century, 14th century to 18th century. That was when romantic love and the legal system started, right? And what started it was that the upper class, the royals, their daughters were now going to school, right? And so they began to travel. They began to explore and see things differently. And so they began to feel that they have a right. And because they are bloodline, blood to the king, they had a say, right? And so it became, no, you can't come and marry me in my father's house. Regardless of whether you're a royalty, you need to chase me. That was where it started from, right? Because then education was now becoming very pronounced. Shakespeare had started making plays, Romeo and Juliet. We now had poets who began to talk about the rights of the girl child, the rights of the women, right? So the upper class started promoting romantic love. Okay, so it's all about mindset. Some people still marry Gen Zs and millennials and still think like Roman Empire operating. See, they exist. It's not that they think. That is their operating system. You as a Gen Z is the one that must not marry them and go and marry a Gen Z or someone who has the operating system of the dispensation you belong to. If I tell you to go and marry Oduduwa now, or to go and marry, or to go and marry Amadioha, you know Amadioha was a military chief. If I ask you to go and marry Amadioha, and it's coming from work, and fire is coming from his mouth, or Shango, right? How are you going to, what romance are you going to be having with him? Someone that fire comes out of his mouth. Will you see him and go and hug him and say, oh, my sweetheart is coming? You cannot. Right? So you are the one that must not marry Oduduwa, or must not marry Obatala, or must not marry Amadioha. Right? You are the one that must not marry an ancestor. And that's why when someone begins to have the operating system of your great-great-grandfather, because the descendants exist, various operating, like as we're still on this planet, Pentium 1 is still working. If you boot Pentium 1, it will still work. It's just that the speed, you don't want to stay there. So all these people will always be here. The real work right now in making your choice is to ensure that who you are picking aligns with your worldview. Please, speaking in tongues together is no longer enough. Sitting beside each other in church is no longer enough. Oh, he's running after pastor. It's no longer. You can still do all those things. Listen to the same messages, because as people are listening to pastors' messages, their filters is interpreting differently. That's why you can go to church, hear a message, and someone is saying that he was sleeping, and you are wondering, you were sleeping? This message that might not is full, and say, what were you writing? Because the filters you are using to process is different. It's not everyone in your class that is your classmate. It's not everyone in your church that is your church member. It said they are of, it says, not everyone in Israel is of Israel. Right? So not everyone saying I love you is of your operating system. Right? Because operating system is what marries. Operating system is what scatters marriage. So in the Renaissance era, upper classes started promoting romantic love. So that was where the legal system started codifying marriage's law into obligation, where people now began to have rights. That was Renaissance, where you can now, they now started shooting movies, Romeo and Juliet, and poems, and people were writing love notes and what have you, because from that moment, you went into Industrial Revolution, 19th century, woman rights started, which led to love and companionship, including rights. That was when women started owning property, and they now had the right to the custody of children in case divorce happened. In fact, that was when divorce became a thing. Yes, Titanic. Thank you very much, Lord T. So 19th century love is what many people now are used to. That is what a lot of ladies now prefer, because women have suffered over the years. Women had no voice. They had no say. From Stone Age, they were a baby production factory. Ancient civilization, they were used as negotiation tool, or someone who must produce an heir apparent to the throne. To the Renaissance, ancient civilization, to the Renaissance age, right, to the Middle Ages, they've always been messed up. So for the first time in the 19th century, they began to have rights. The feminist movement started, right? So women love, now romantic love, now took the center stage to say the drama of proposal, where I come to kneel down, after chopping each other for like 9 months, I will now propose, and you now pretend as if you weren't expecting it. What were you expecting? Anyways, that's another story. And in the 19th century, so Industrial Revolution and what have you. From 19th century, you went to the 20th century, which had reforms in marital laws, including introduction of no-fault divorce, the fight for and legalization of interracial marriage. So everything just totally changed. I sense that with the way our world is moving, our world is spherical, it keeps rotating. We are going back to some of the old things, and you can already see shades of that, because that's the way the world always operates. Now, the problem is this. Now we have the modern marriage, but we have all these people with this mentality, mindset in here. So when people say it's a narcissist, what I think is happening is a millennial, someone with an operating system of a millennial where everyone is free, is falling in love with someone who is a Stone Age guy with a Stone Age operating, or a Stone Age babe with a Stone Age operating system. In Stone Age, you have no say. They will acquire powerful women. No matter your potential, you end up producing babies. That's your job. We will take care of you. You have no say. If you don't figure out this, because they can come, when a guy spends so much on you, you should be worried. Is it trying to buy you? Is it trying to influence you such that, and you see a lot of them, they have money to spend, because power is what rules Stone Age. You want to go abroad, we'll send you. You want to go there, we'll send you. It's just that you have no say. Rule number one, never outshine the master. First law of power. The moment you try to outshine the master, you are in trouble. You can't talk to some guys. You can't, because Stone Age men don't care. It's your body we marry. We didn't marry your soul. We didn't marry your intellect. Right? It's the Middle Ages men who marry your intellect, and they are thinking of, okay, what can you do? How can we use this woman in our business? What can you? So you need to know these things in making your choices. Right? Because without sharpening, well-intended adults will implode and self-sabotage because of their worldview. The critical thing in many relationships today is unequal yoke. Different worldview. Unequal yoke. They're unbelievers to themselves. Unfortunately, they don't teach these things. They tell you, all of you are equal before God. We are not. We are all equal in the sense that God made all of us. But when it comes to our mentality, have you not sat with someone in church that by the time he's talking, you are looking at, where did you come from? And then they'll think you are arrogant. You are not arrogant. We are not just of the same operating system. I will extend you love, but you cannot extend that love and now throw my life into your hand to be handling me. It's marrying down. And that was why I said yesterday that the way forward is the way backward. Some of you need to go backward. Some of you are princes. Some of you are royalties. Some of you are kings. You can't be a princess in your history, but because your father ran away and thought that they told him, your family is demonic. So he ran away from chieftaincy title and you lost the aura of a royalty. You became very common. So people should not even be talking to you, who should not be asking you, are beginning to ask you out, and they are making your life miserable. And you are crying. You are a shadow of yourself. You've lost your confidence because they must. If you marry Stone Age people, or you have the operating system of a Stone Age person, they are going to destroy your confidence. They are going to gaslight you. You are going to look like a shadow of yourself. And it goes both ways. Men and women, they're going to use their mouth to destroy you. You will not even have erection. By the time you are living, you are not a shadow of yourself. You become like that song. You are not the girl I used to know. You are a shadow of yourself. I thought I lost you long ago. Like a book that's left the shelf. Your book would have left the shelf. So, premarital counseling becomes key. Your capacity to sniff evil. So the questions you need to be asking will help you. I want you to go and do a study on Stone Age mentality. Do a study on Asian civilization mentality, so that you know the questions to be asking. Right? So you can simulate, for example, and say, well, when we get married, you want to marry me? When we get married, I have a dream of becoming United Nations Secretary General, so which means I'll do like 5 masters. And he said, who will be cooking for me? Once you hear who will be cooking for me, you know the age this person is coming from. Right? You know. Once you hear that. When you say, by the way, I'm thinking, what if all our children are girls? And the person says to you, over my dead body, there must be a male. Who will? You know the age, the dispensation you are talking to. You know the descendants of who you are talking to, right? Or when you say things like, when we get married, I want to own my business. And he says, no, compulsory. I have my business. You must work in my... You already know who you are talking to, right? So you need to understand how to ask intelligent questions. And I cannot say this enough. Marry your kind. Marry someone from your dispensation. If to say I know all these things before marry, I will not marry you. Right? You need to know. As you are going from tomorrow, you'll be telling me. Because you see, they can't hide. It's an operating system. Out of the abundance of their... Once they talk like this, you will know. You need to be able... God passed all the animals before Adam. Adam was the one that said, no, this is dog. You must be dog. If Adam had said dog, you are now the bone of my bone, dog would have been marrying men. So as they are passing by, once you have a chat with them, that's Stone Age. Because Stone Age, if Stone Age marries Gen Z, This is what their marriage looks like. Stone Age is survival and workforce production. He wants to produce. You are a baby production factory, nothing more. But then you are my bestie adventure. How is it going to work? So you want to be his bestie, but he cannot share. He cannot share limelight with you. You want to travel and say, oh, you know, I want to hold his hand. And the guy is ashamed of holding your hand. Stone Age wets Gen Zs. He will begin to call you down, create rules and regulation, and you will think, this is a narcissist. It's a Stone Age. Because there's a woman for him. There are women who will kneel down for him in the morning. Who will put food down. You know, if you have seen Coming to America, you know that girl that says, what is your purpose? Say, my Lord, your purpose is my purpose. So yeah, back like a dog. Say, boo, boo, boo. That's the woman for Stone Age men. The woman who never complains. No, they can't teach this in your churches. Right? Or ancient man wed someone who is a feminist. Ancient man, ancient civilization, what is they caring about is quest for hair and inheritance. That's all he cares about. He wants to use you to get here. Because it's a shame when he doesn't have a male child. Right? And then he must, to activate his inheritance, he needs a male child. But you want affection and equal opportunities. Oh, wow, sweetheart, can you make breakfast for me while I lay in bed? Asian man cannot do that. To buy water, Asian man would rather die than boil water for you. Including when you are pregnant too. Asian man. Asian man, you can't question Asian man. Asian man cannot say, I'm sorry. That's the person you are dating. And mind you, they are successful at work. Right? They own businesses. They fly jets. Or the middle-ager, wet, enlightened boss lady. Middle-ager is only concerned about alignment, alliance for wealth, power, and land. That's all they concern. But you want genuine love and freedom. Say, I have my money. I want genuine love. I'm enlightened. I'm educated. I want a guy that can call my own. He's looking at you. He's saying, that's your wealth. I beg you. Can you introduce me to your boss? By the time he gets to your boss, you're done for. So, guys, that's where I'm going to stop today. I'll see. We continue our series for singles on Friday Fellowship. Some people asked to book a session with me. You can get on my bio, and you'll see my Calendly. You can book a free 15-minute session on Thursday. And I'll see you. But I hope this has been helpful today, right? I hope this has been helpful today. I'll try and see if I can make tomorrow. I might not, but I'll try and do Thursday, then Friday. We don't do Friday. So I'll keep this on my timeline, right? I'll post on my timeline so that you can listen to it and share with your friends. But these are the truth. So don't join people to label people as, oh, he's a narcissist. Don't be quick to label, except they've been clinically diagnosed. Don't be quick to say he's a narcissist or he's an obsessed person. They might be operating with an operating system that doesn't align with your dispensation. So find someone who is from your dispensation and fall in love with them. Someone wants to be on my live video. Is that a mistake? Okay. I can see two people. Which of you wants? Do you have a question? Making a request to be on my live. Okay. Anyways, looks like we're done for today. So thank you everyone for joining me. I really appreciate you. Please listen to this over and over again. But by tomorrow you begin to see them. You will know that does this person align with my beliefs? Don't be unequally yoked together with an unbeliever. An unbeliever is someone who doesn't believe what you believe. An unbeliever is someone whose worldview does not align with you. Okay? I'm almost married a lawyer who is a Stone Age person. Thank you very much. You almost married a lawyer who is a Stone Age person. Guys, don't make that mistake because, hey, you need to enjoy your life. I want you to be happy, and I want to be genuinely happy. I want you to marry someone that is a friend, a playmate, someone you can play together. Friendship is so critical. And you don't want to be talking here, it's talking Z. You're talking about, hey, let's go on a tour. Let's enjoy our life. And he's saying, no. Have you given me a male child? I used to have a sister who was dating a guy. The guy will cook. So I used to go and visit them. We'll cook, and then he will tell my sister, he'll say, you know, this soup, you cut come out. Don't cut it more than this. I'm like, where did they see this? And this guy is a leader at work, stone ager. I was looking at, where did you find this guy? So we started calling him Cut Come Out. Anyway, guys, I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Thank you very much for joining me. I know you'll get it right. You guys are going to get it right. And if you're married already, you will need to influence the worldview of that person. There's a way to do that. It's a long process. The first thing is to try to avoid them. But if you, in case you're already in it, there's a way, right? All of it's not lost. I mean, I've worked with people to coach them on how to swing that, but we need to bypass their conscious resistance. Anyways, thank you very much. I love you. Have a fantastic, fantastic evening. Bye-bye.